Hey guys, it's Tammy. You can probably tell by the name of the video that I have decided to enter the Wild Orchid Crafts Design Team Open Call. So I'm here to share with you two projects that I've created. I'm extremely excited about this opportunity, also extremely nervous, so I'll go ahead and get started. I will forewarn you that I have been sick, so if I sound winded or I don't sound like myself, then that's why. So hopefully I don't get too out of breath. I tried to wait until I was well, but I'm running out of time, so here we go. The first project that I created is a mixed media canvas, and I went with a Titanic theme. I actually have a start to finish video that I did on camera to share with you how I created the entire canvas, and I'll have that uploaded soon. But for now, what I did is I took an 8.5 by 11 stretched canvas, covered it with gesso, let it dry, then I added in acrylic paint in cream and black and burgundy and various colors, a little bit of gold, and then I started stenciling on it. And the only stencil that you can still see is this nautical compass up here in the corner. Everything else has gotten covered up, but that's the art of mixed media. Then after I was done stenciling, if you'll notice down here in this corner, really apparent across the bottom and then on the side as well, that is tissue paper that I got when I went to the Titanic exhibit in Gatlinburg, and I bought something at the gift shop and they wrapped it in that tissue paper. But I took that tissue paper and I grunged it up using alcohol inks and distress inks and various different mists, and then I Mod Podged it to the canvas. I also added a doily up here at the top. It was white and it's been painted with black acrylic paint. Wild Orchid Crafts does have doilies, so you can check that out. And then I just layered in pieces of paper in different locations across the canvas. The focal image of this canvas is this picture of the Titanic. It, as well as this recreated boarding pass down at the bottom, I printed off the internet. I printed both of these onto a cream cardstock, and then I ripped it, grunged it, distressed it, sprayed it with water. Really wanted it to have that antique vintage look to it, so I really grunged those up. The photo that you see down at the bottom, this was also printed off the internet. It is a picture of a couple on board the Titanic. And then there is this bingo card from the Simple Stories documented collection that I layered underneath there as well. As for the flowers that I used from Wild Orchid Crafts, this first spray that I've got going on, I want to talk about this large gardenia. The large gardenia was in a cream color, but I really wanted an antique, more vintage looking color. So what I did is I sprayed all of the cream colored flowers in this with the Lindy Stamp Gang Creme Brulee Cream in the Glitz Spritz. And let me tell you something, the flowers from Wild Orchid Crafts will accept your sprays regardless of whether you're using Glimmer Mist or Lindy's or alcohol inks or paint. They will accept that color and absorb it and give you such a vivid, vibrant color on your flowers, and it doesn't take much of your product at all. If you notice here, this bottle was, I'd already used it a couple times before I started this project, and I still have a lot of product left. So that's a great way to save some money, because the flowers don't use a whole lot of the product to give you the color that you're looking for. But also I have in here some of the 15 millimeter red burgundy roses. These are the 25 millimeter wild roses, and I think they actually call these a midnight blue, but they're an extremely rich dark black color. And then I have as well some of the 10 millimeter little baby roses tucked in there. They were a two-tone red and cream, and I also sprayed those to deepen that cream color as well. And then these are the hip rosebuds that I've got dotting throughout there as well, and I had also sprayed those. Underneath you'll see that I have the small rose leaves that I got at Wild Orchid Crafts. I'll have the link for everything that I used down below for you guys, so you can check that out. And I used that for just a pop of green. Down in the bottom corner I've got 3 of the wild rosebuds, and these I'd also sprayed. I used a little bit of distress ink on the edges of the petals just to give them more dimension and color, and then I tucked in a few of the smaller 15mm rosebuds in there, or 15mm open roses in there as well. This is just a piece of organza ribbon that I've tied a bow to hold the bouquet together, and then you'll see that there are a few little Tim Holtz gears tucked in there to give added dimension. Down in this bottom corner here, there are 3 more of the 15mm rosebuds, and this black one that you see there, it actually looked like this. And I used my magical micas from Lindy's on it, and then I also used the Distress Stain in black soot to give it this really deep black color. And then to tie in that little bit of shimmer, I went over the other black roses with that magical mica as well. I have a little bit of Prima Bling poking out from under various different objects. You can get the Prima Bling at Wild Orchid Crafts as well. And then just to tie it off, I used 2 of the photo corners from Tim Holtz and added this little clock from Jolie's in there as well. You'll find other little pieces sticking out here and there, the little film strip, the key, the lock, just little hidden treasures that I've wove into the flowers as well. But this is my first project. This is by far my favorite one. I loved this canvas. I can't wait to get this hung up. But moving on to the next thing that I created, this one's a little more traditional. I went with a shadow box layout. And if you guys are interested, I can show you a video on how I made the shadow box. I did use just 1 sheet of 12 by 12 lightweight chipboard. You guys could make this out of cereal boxes. Soda, if you're buying soda, buy the 12 pack or the case. You can use that, the box from that as well, and upcycle that. So that's a good way to make it. There's no need to really go out and spend a whole lot of money buying a shadow box when you guys can make this really easily. On the inside, this is a picture of my husband and I just raised that up on dimensional pop dots, layered it over top of the A La Prima paper collection. I used 3 different sheets that I inked in Distress and layered there as well. There's also a vintage doily in the back that I had sprayed with Lindy's to give it more of an antique look. This is some more Prima Bling sticking out from underneath the flower, but the real draw, or the real highlight of the embellishments for this is the Wild Orchid Craft flowers that you see in the corners. In this corner I've got various different roses that I had. These are the Trellis roses. These are my favorite rose. They come in a 35mm and a 40mm, and they are a very realistic, very hardy looking rose, and they're great for larger projects like this. This is also one of the large wild roses, which I sprayed with Pineapple Paradise from Lindy's Stamp Gang to give it this kind of yellow-orange color. You'll also notice that I have some of the 15, 20, and even a few of the smaller 10mm roses tucked in there as well. There's a few little pearl strands just sticking out for added dimension. And then I repeated that down in the other corner. I'm going to flip that up so that you guys can see this end as well. I'm using some of the fern leaves in the background that I got from Wild Orchid Crafts, and the really big thing that I wanted to show you in this corner, if you guys can see that, hopefully that's pretty clear. Let me show you up close. This is one of the Filagree butterflies from Wild Orchid Crafts, and this is one of my favorite metal embellishments. It is very intricate and very detailed, and these are very inexpensive. You get like 6 of them in a package. US, it's like normally $1.99, and I think they're having a sale right now, so you guys should check that out. But you can bend this and move it and make it flat for your layouts. You can give it more dimension if you're altering a project, but it's a really great little embellishment. I've also tied in just a few other odd and end embellishments. This is a Prima bird cage, and then there's a Tim Holtz word token up in the top there. On the outside of the box, I've used the Filagree photo corners from Wild Orchid Crafts. I did use my gold paint from Adirondack on these just to tone down the brightness of that gold that was there. And then I just got a box pleated trim around the entire perimeter of the box. As for how I painted the box, it was first painted with a green olive color, and then I used a crackle medium and a light cream overlay to crackle that there. So that is the projects that I created for the Wild Orchid Crafts design team call. Hopefully these will be worthy of a position on their design team, and I would love to know what you guys think about it. I am grateful to all my subbies, so all of the feedback that you give me I do use to become better at what I do. So if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Love you all. Keep your fingers crossed for me, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.